So I walk in there, and in the main area there's a big pillar, just because that's how the building's constructed, you know. And so I, as I'm approaching the double doors, I see what looked like one of the clients that went there. There was a girl sitting at the table who, like, you know, it wasn't some little girl in Victorian era clothing or whatever ghosts are, you know. It was like, it looked like one of the girls that went to our program. Like, legit looked exactly like her. So from a distance, I'm thinking it's her. And so I'll, what should I give her a fake name. Let's call her, it's a book over there. Let's call her Kate. Because I don't want to, you know, give her real name. So Kate, I see what I think, sorry. What the fuck was that? Hello? What's up? I'm telling ghost stories and you just scared the I know, I didn't flip it. You scared the fuck out of me. Holy shit. No, you're fine. I know I didn't flip the sign. I'm sorry. But I'm telling ghost stories right now. And right as I was about to tell, like, the part you knocked on the door, I was like, what the fuck was that? That's fucked up. No, no. No, it's fine. Yeah, please. Oh, shit. Okay. What the fuck was I talking about? So, another thing, and this is a big one, and it kind of actually relates to TikTok. Our dad decided to make a TikTok to get hip with the kids. And one of his TikToks accidentally has, I think the last time I checked, almost 200K views on it.
Yeah.
But it happens to be a video of you. Do you want to tell everybody what you're doing in that video?
So we were at a wrestling show, and I pulled down the manager's pants, and my dad decides to post it, and then decides that's going to be the most liked video on his channel.
Here it is. The chorus is my favorite thing of all time. Boys of fall, heads and stars and stripes, it's fighting back them butterflies. Oh wait, here's the one. I sing this all the time. Knocking heads and talking trash, it's slinging mud and dirt and grass. You mess with one man, you got us all. The boys have fall. How fucking incredible is that? That song fucking kills me. Dude, he's just talking about playing football. Hey, man, we know. To his credit, high school football players talk about high school football with that much passion. Because, good God, do they treat high school football like it is the end-all, be-all of your life. You know, there's that quote. What's that quote in Varsity Blues? 40 minutes for the next 40 years of your life. 40 minutes for the next 40 years of your life. Hey, man, no, it's not, you know? It's 40 minutes for the next 40 minutes because, you know, after the game, you know, that's where that ends. And then specifically after senior year, when none of you go to college, let alone the NFL, that's for sure the end. You ever seen Varsity Blues? It's my favorite scene in a football movie when he's talking to his dad. His dad's like, you know, he's typical football dad, living through his kid who's doing well in football because he never made it to the pros or whatever. He's like, you know, playing football at West Cannon is the opportunity of your lifetime. You better take it. He's like, playing football at West Cannon may have been the opportunity of your lifetime, but I don't want your life. You know? Hey, remember that time James Vanderbeek said that? Because I do. I don't want your life. He doesn't want to laugh. He just wants to live. Just wants to be a good boy. You know? He has a good outlook on football. He's the one who's like, dude, no. 40 minutes for the next 40 years? No, thank you. How about 40 minutes for now? 40 minutes for the next actual 40 minutes. And then after this, we're all going to go home. You know. That's such a dumb way to think. 40 minutes for the next 40 years of your life. No, man. Hey, no. It's not how it works. This is the least serious situation we could be in right now. You know why? Because if we lose this Friday night lights football game, it's not going to affect my career, man. Hey, it's not, you know? Especially because it's based off individual performance. You don't get picked up as a fucking team. There's no scout being like, well, we need to take all of them. They're winning ball games. We want them all. So I had my scene, right? And I decorated it, and there was tables everywhere. There was a cash register and a little, and then I was like, I need people. But I didn't want to just make people out of cardboard because it was going to look, silly. So what I did was I used to collect these figures that some of you might remember. You would get them at like grocery stores in the little 50 cents thing, and they were called homies. And they were really racist depictions of Hispanic men for fucking no reason. They were like collectibles, and they were they were pretty stereotyped depictions of Hispanic people. I'm Hispanic, by the way, so you can't get mad at me for it. But I used to collect them because I thought they were cool. Because they were just like a little thing I could collect. Because, it's random and it's bullshit when you crank the thing and you got the same guy for the fourth time. You're like, motherfucker, I just need one more. So it was like about collecting every time I went to the grocery store until I eventually had all of them. But I had all of them at one point, and I glued them into all the chairs and all the places to make it look like a fucking Jamba Juice. And I remember bringing it to school the next day, and everybody was like, what the fuck? You can't do that, blah, blah, And I was like, yeah, I can. The teacher said I could. She said I could do whatever the fuck I want. And then, no shit, and all the kids were like, well, nah. And then, no shit, the next day, everybody had a fucking shoebox with toys in it as a little Jamba Juice. And I was like, you fucking sheep. Sorry, while I was telling that story, I remembered another project from the same class. Dude, this shit, okay. I'm gonna give y'all a fucking heads up. This shit would not fly nowadays. I'm gonna tell you right the fuck now. The shit I'm about to tell you is fucking buck wild that I ever got away with this at school. So I'm just giving you that heads up real quick. So a bit of context. As a kid, I was obsessed with the movie Scream because my mom liked it. And I walked in and she was watching it one day. And I fucking loved the movie. And she had the trilogy or something. I watched all of them all the time. Yes, even the third one. All the time I watched all of them. And so, God, I cannot fucking believe I did this. So, the project was to create a play in class. It was supposed to be like, it was essentially like the project was, make a play about whatever. It could be, they were like the project is to create a play, and it's like, it could be funny, it could be drama, it could be whatever. And me being really into horror films, I was like, can I make a scary play? So again, I asked the teacher, and she's like, lit, go ahead and do that. So I gather with my friends, and we go into the brainstorming phase, and I legit this was in the 4th grade, right? I remember. I won't say the teacher's name, but I remember her name. And this was in the 4th grade. I came up with the idea to do my own dramatic rendition of the movie Scream in my 4th grade class in front of my 4th grade peers. And so I essentially pretended to fucking murder 3 fourth graders. I was also in 4th grade. I want to say that too. This wasn't a couple months ago. I was also in the 4th grade. And I wore a Scream costume that I'd got from Party City. And the play was essentially just a bunch of scenarios of me murdering other 4th graders. I had fake blood in fucking test tubes that I had got also from Party City that I taped to my friends' stomachs, and I would stab them with the fake knife, and then they would open them and let the blood pour out in the 4th fucking grade. Mind you, we were 4th graders. And I remember it was funny too, because some of the other plays were like complete dog shit, right? It's me shitting on a 4th grader script writing. I couldn't follow the narrative. You know, but it was just like I remember these 2 guys in my class who were like the popular guys. They were like the popular kids. Wow, they're so cool. All the girls are, whatever. And they decided to do a rendition of Tom and Jerry. I know what you might be thinking. Hey, those characters mostly don't talk, except for that one time they did. Exactly. My opinion or my thoughts at the time. And they didn't talk in this rendition of Tom and Jerry. The production basically came down to them going in front of the class and being like, hey guys, it's blank and blank, and today we're going to be doing a rendition of Tom and Jerry. And then they immediately just began chasing each other for 3 minutes straight, just around the fucking area we were at outside. They chased each other, no dialogue, no stopping. I think he fell one time, and then they stopped. They walked back and said, thank you guys. And that was it. So, it was a pretty bold artistic choice, I think. And I definitely think that there's a message in there. They're trying to convey I think they were trying to convey that, school is just a constant chase of a mindless, boring chase of something that you'll never catch.
So then I got into wrestling as a way to kind of it was faux masculinity to me in a way that I didn't even realize at the time, where it was like, here's these men being their most masculine selves. Coming out angry, dripping in sweat, muscles, and fighting each other. But they're also wearing some fantastic spandex. Coming out to wonderful songs and doing these choreographed entrances and trying to look their most fabulous. Not having a hair out of place, making sure they're all groomed perfectly. And there was this line of masculinity and femininity which was being showcased. And it was seen as masculine. There was no
right. There was no questioning it.
Exactly. It was just like this, and or not even that necessarily. It was like these people are allowed to be this feminine or this flamboyant and this outlandish and this fun and themselves, but still be seen as masculine and not seen as not tough.
But yeah, so our plan was to go bar hop at these queer bars and clubs. So we were all set. My main friend, who was putting the whole thing on, had a very religious family. The type who was like, hey, even though you're well over the age of 21, you're not gonna drink in this house because this is the Lord's house or whatever, So we couldn't drink. We couldn't pregame there. So we decided to rent a shitty little motel room. And we were going to pregame there, get ready, and then go out to the clubs. And then once we were done at the clubs, just Uber back and sleep at the motel because we were all planning on getting drunk, so we didn't want to go back to his family's house. But we arrive at the motel, and it is, it is a motel. I mean, it is right on, just a small, essentially a bedroom with 2 twin beds in it, a small little CRT TV, and a mini fridge, and it was tiny, man. And it was pouring fucking rain outside, legitimately, it was coming down very, very aggressively. And it was like, fuck, what do we do? Because, it'd be one thing if we were just going to go to one club and just like party or whatever, but our plan was to bar hop. The plan was to go to a bunch of different, our plan was to go to a bunch of different clubs and shit. And now that was all fucked up. So we were like, oh shit, what do we do? And at first we were like, okay, well, we'll just hang out in the hotel room a little bit longer and try and like wait it out, So we start pre-gaming, we start pulling out we had fucking Jello shots and fucking tequila and like vodka and all this shit. And I believe there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of us in this small little fucking motel room. And as the night progressed, man, it was getting worse outside. It was fucking just hardcore coming down. There was no stopping the fucking rain. And so we eventually just gave up on the idea of going out, and so we essentially sat in this like small, dimly lit, depressing little room and all just kind of drank and talked for a bit, and then we all fell asleep, and that was the end. Like that was my big 21st birthday fucking rah extravaganza that I got. I used to make videos when I was like 9 years old, on an old VHS camera of all things, and they're fucking terrible. They're garbage videos, but at the time I was like so proud of them. I remember I had like a ghost hunting series. Oh man. Oh, hold on. My brain just like remembered all kinds of shit. I had a little series that I did on my VHS camcorder with my brother, where I was obsessed with the show Ghost Hunters. And I would walk around the house as if I was like doing ghost hunter shit. I was like, give us a sign that you're here. And I was like pretending I had like EVP equipment and shit. And my brother would run around in the background or move shit in a Scream costume I had, which if you remember one of my other podcasts, I talked about how I got away with doing a rendition of the movie Scream in my 4th grade class. So if you want to hear that story, go listen to that episode because it's a fucking wild time. But he would like run around in the background or like stand down the hallway, and then I would like pretend to review the footage with him later, like as if he was like my guy in the truck. So he was the ghost and the guy who reviews the footage. He'd be like, if you look right here, you can see a figure, and it's like so clearly him standing down the hallway. It's so bad. But like as a kid, you're like, oh my god, this is incredible. Hell yeah, it's so fucking funny, dude. It's so good. Oh, this not even funny because I took myself very seriously. But like you're just proud of the content because it's a thing you made. But when the announcement first happened, I was one of the people who was like, well, I judged Ben Affleck really, really hard when that announcement happened, like back when I was in like high school. And when the movie came out, he was like the only good thing about it. Ben Affleck was like the only, his Batman was like the only good thing about Batman v Superman. So I was like, I'm not going to judge Robert Pattinson before I even see anything. I'm just going to let the movie happen. And then his statement came out where it was like, he was like, I'm not going to work out a bunch. Like, I'm not going to get super unrealistic Shred City. And everyone was like so mad. They were like, not my Batman. And I was like, who gives a fuck, dude? First of all, he never said he was just gonna be like... He never said he wasn't gonna put work into the role. He just said he didn't want to, like, get on the fucking juice and, like, get unrealistically big. Which, for all we know, first of all, that could be a thing within the movie. Like, that could be a character choice. Like, oh, this Batman is just like a normal dude. He's not like a big jack man. He doesn't look like a fucking Gears of War character. But also, like, so who cares? Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, if you want your Batman to be super jacked, like, that's fair. That's fine. But, like, then just don't see it. There's 10 other Batman things, you know? Like, you don't have to look at him even. It is very interesting to me that I decided to start a solo podcast, right? Because when I first got into podcasts, I actually didn't like solo podcasts because I always just was like, I didn't even have a reason not to, like, from experience necessarily. Because I was always like, my thing was like, how could that ever be good to listen to, right? Like, podcasts are about, chemistry with a host and, like, listening to people talk about, a cool subject, or, like, just listening to two friends talk, blah, blah, blah. So I never even listened to one. And then I think the first solo podcast I ever listened to was really good, which is Curtis Connor's podcast. And I was like, dude, this fucking rules. Because, like, it was just him sitting there talking about nothing, saying shit that he thinks is funny. And I was like, dude, that's how I am all the time. You know? And, like, it made sense for him, too, especially because he comes from a stand-up background. But, like, I come from a background of, like, I wanted to do stand-up when I was younger. And I think this was the less socially terrifying and anxiety-inducing way to do it. Because if a bit doesn't land on here, I'll never know. Because there's no audience participation. So I don't have to know if my jokes are funny. I can just keep pretending that they are. You know? Like, if I was in a comedy club and I was like, anyway, so can you imagine if, like, someone called me from the future? And it was just like, I say that, and then there's just fucking no reaction. Like, at all. How soul crushing is that? You know? Where do you go from there? You're just like, do you keep going with the bit? Like, yeah, what if they called from the future to say that say that my jokes are bad, right? That'd be crazy if that happened. They'd be like, yeah, I wish someone would call you from the future and tell you that your set fucking sucks. Oh my god, sorry. I just got the craziest thought. What if he comes back and his next series is on himself? What the fuck? Could you imagine? Like, he doesn't upload for like 6 months, and then all of a sudden, number one on trending is the mind of Shane Dawson. Oh no! Oh no! Oh my god! Holy shit. It's like a 28-part series on himself. And he's got to like go back home and like interview his past self. I was singing like Bet on It or something. And I was like, oh man, I really want to watch High School Musical 2. And then I looked and they were all on the Disney Plus app because of course. So we were like, okay, well, we got to get it. And then we were like, let's just watch all 3 of them, never having seen the 3rd one, mind you. And here's the thing. We watched it a little differently than I'm sure a lot of you have. Because as we were watching first of all, the first movie is so gay. It's so gay, and I love it. I love every second of it. It's so gay. It's so clearly queer. But we read the movie as, get ready, because this is going to sound weird at first before I explain myself. You're going to be like, okay, I never thought of it that way. But I'm like firmly with the idea that High School Musical 1 is a trans allegory. With the trans character being Troy Bolton. Because, and here's the thing. Before any of you go like, that's fucking stupid, it doesn't make sense, go watch it first of all with that in mind. But here's the thing is like, the reason it was like so real in my brain is because reading Troy Bolton as like a closeted trans woman was like watching a fucking documentary of my life. Just replace musicals with dancing. That was my life in high school. I was on and replaced basketball with football and rugby. I was absolutely the captain on the football team. Fucking had the high school football coach dad who very much, football's your life. Had to want to go to college for football, went to football camp and all this shit. Sports was like everything in my family, and it was supposed to be everything in my life. And I liked rugby, but I never liked football. Chloe is roped into singing with Sharpay for the talent show at the country club they're working at over the summer. I don't know why I'm explaining this like all of you haven't seen the movie, but so she is roped into singing with Sharpay at the country club. So the rest of the East Side Tigers are like, what the fuck, Chloe? So fine, we'll just do our own performance. And Chad's like, I don't dance. I don't do that gay stuff. I'm not a gay. I'm in girls. And then Ryan's like, well, I'll play around a baseball and show you that you can dance. And then they have the most like sexual tension I've ever witnessed. Like ever. It's so great. And I love it so much. And I think it's fucking horseshit that they give Chad a girlfriend, who, by the way, is the worst character. Taylor whatever, she sucks. She's the worst character. And I just want Chad to go be happy with his boyfriend Ryan. And leave his beard girlfriend. But nonetheless, absolutely gay. But then, and like I just said, they gave Chad a girlfriend. But then, in High School Musical 3, and we'll talk about 3 in a second here because I have some opinions. But in High School Musical 3, there is a short subplot where they start trying to convince us that Ryan Evans is interested in Kelsey, who is the composer of all the musicals. Jesus Christ, I couldn't think of the fucking term. I almost said conductor, and I was like, that's not the right word. Composer. I'm smart. of the music for all of the musicals that they do. And here's the thing, right? And I have a really, really hot take on this, and it's really interesting. And I think you'll understand what I mean by the end of it. It's a little long, so get ready. So here's my take on the whole Ryan Kelsey situation is no.